A spring tease or a winter trap? Weather update American cities number 132. Get ready for some serious weather whiplash across the United States. We're in the middle of a massive pattern flip that's about to kick things into high gear as we head deeper into February. After a bone-chilling stretch along the East Coast, a powerful dome of high pressure is building over the country's midsection. This is allowing historically warm air to surge northward, completely changing the game. As this spring-like warmth spreads east, it will crash into the lingering cold, creating a super sharp temperature boundary. That boundary is where all the action is going to be. Think of it as a battleground in the atmosphere. Multiple storms are expected to fire up along this line, cranking up the chances for both heavy snow and severe thunderstorms as we approach the middle of the month. One particular storm signal that's really catching my eye is timed perfectly around Valentine's Day. Forecast models keep pointing to a developing low-pressure system that could deliver a classic 1-2 punch. Severe weather on the warm side and heavy snow on the cold side. But before we dive into that, something truly wild just happened on Lake Erie. A gigantic crack in the ice has formed, stretching right across the central part of the lake just north of Cleveland, Ohio. This massive fissure is a direct result of the dramatic temperature swings we've been having, along with strong winds pushing and pulling on the frozen surface. These cracks are actually pretty common when the ice coverage gets this extensive, and right now, Lake Erie is sitting at about 95% frozen over. That ice coverage is impressively high for this time of year, but it also creates a potentially dangerous situation. The ice sheet is constantly under stress, and these fractures can appear suddenly. If you have any plans to be out on the ice, whether it's for fishing or recreation, you have to be incredibly cautious. This kind of activity is going to continue as long as the ice is this thick and the weather stays this volatile. It's a powerful reminder of how dynamic even a frozen landscape can be, so please stay safe out there. Now, let's talk about this complete reversal of fortune for the weather pattern. For everyone along the East Coast, remember how frigid it was? Well, it's all about to become a distant memory. A huge ridge of high pressure is pumping up like a balloon over the Great Plains, and it's dragging incredibly warm air with it. In fact, some spots are on track to shatter heat records for February, with temperatures soaring into the 70s as far north as Iowa, South Dakota, and Nebraska. This is not a typo. That wave of warmth is going to start marching eastward as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. The northern plains will see a slight cool down as a relatively weak cold front slides through Kansas and Oklahoma, but it won't last long. On the flip side, areas from the Ohio Valley all the way to the northeast will get a taste of these, above average temperatures on Tuesday. By Wednesday, a separate system moving out of Canada will drag some colder air back into New England and the mid-Atlantic for a brief visit. This initial system is pretty weak, so the biggest story over the next 5 to 7 days will be the temperature roller coaster. By the end of the week, we'll see some of that cooler air settle back into the East Coast, while the Great Plains holds onto the warmth. Meanwhile, the West Coast will be on the opposite end of the spectrum, with below-average temperatures for places like California, Oregon, and Washington. This setup is going to be fantastic for bringing much-needed moisture to the Rockies. All that Pacific moisture funneling into the colder air in the west is going to fuel some significant mountain snow. That's something we haven't seen a whole lot of this winter, so it's fantastic news for ski resorts and for the region's water supply down the line. It looks like this general pattern, with warmth dominating the central U.S., will stick around through the middle of February. This could suppress any major winter storms for a while, especially across the southern tier of the country. I don't see any big southern snowstorms on the horizon just yet, but don't get too comfortable. I have a feeling that once we get past the 15th of February, we're going to see another major Arctic blast make a comeback. It's almost inevitable. These long-lasting warm spells in the middle of winter can often precede a dramatic polar vortex event. For now, though, the heat is the main story, with temperatures today soaring up to 40 degrees above average in parts of Iowa, Kansas, and Oklahoma. It's just incredible. You might honestly think you've woken up in late April if you look at the temperature map for today. We're talking mid to upper 60s and even low 70s across Kansas and Nebraska. Kansas City will hit 67, while southwestern Kansas could touch a mind-boggling 77 degrees. I can't overstate how unusual that is for early February. Even back in Tennessee, where they were dealing with a nasty ice storm just a couple of weeks ago, temperatures are climbing into the mid-60s today. The groundhog's prediction is irrelevant now. By Tuesday, that weak cold front will knock those temperatures back a bit. So most of Kansas will be back in the 50s for highs. Through Wednesday and Thursday, the most intense heat will be confined closer to the Gulf Coast. But then, as we head into Thursday and Friday, the warmth machine cranks up again across the central and southern plains. Cities like Dallas and Houston could easily push past 80 degrees by Friday. That's not just spring-like. That's practically early summer for some folks down there. With all that warmth and humidity building, we have to start keeping a close eye on the potential for severe weather. That late-week storm system I mentioned could tap into that energy, possibly sparking some strong thunderstorms across the southern plains. Even looking beyond next weekend, the warmth doesn't look like it's going to back down. Temperatures could still be in the 50s and 60s all the way from Montana down to Texas, keeping that atmospheric battleground very active and primed for storm development. So for now, the pattern for widespread major winter storms remains relatively quiet for most of the country. The big exceptions are the Pacific Northwest and the Rockies, where we have a couple of different systems ready to deliver some fantastic snow. The first one is already moving ashore today and tomorrow, bringing light to moderate snow to the higher elevations, which is great news for skiers. At the same time, a fast-moving system is diving down from Canada, what we call an Alberta Clipper. That Clipper system is developing right now, just north of Minnesota, and is set to bring a quick burst of heavier snow tomorrow into areas like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. From there, it will race into the Northeast, where moderate to heavy snow is likely on Tuesday and into early Wednesday. If you're in New England, or even near New York City, you can expect some wintry precipitation. We could even see a mix of freezing rain in parts of New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, and southern New York. The good news is that any ice accumulation that does happen from that system shouldn't be enough to cause widespread power outages. However, it will definitely be enough to create some slick spots on the roads for the Tuesday and Wednesday morning commutes. So please take it easy out there. By Wednesday morning, that fast-moving Clipper will be heading offshore, though some leftover snow showers could linger across the Appalachian Mountains and throughout northern New England for a little while. As that system departs, our focus shifts back to the west. Late Wednesday and into Thursday, a large plume of moisture will be streaming in from the Pacific, slamming into the Rockies and the West Coast. This means another round of heavy snowfall for the higher elevations, continuing to build up that crucial snowpack. Meanwhile, back east, that temperature boundary will really start to solidify across the Central Plains and the Southeast, acting as a track for future storm systems to follow. We are expecting a weaker low-pressure system to spin up along that boundary on Thursday and Friday, likely over Kansas and Oklahoma. While it might not look like much right now, it will be enough to bring a chance for snow, showers to parts of the Midwest, and a line of showers and thunderstorms across the deep south on Friday. This could be our first real chance to see some isolated severe weather return to the region, so we'll be watching that very closely as the ingredients come together. By the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, things should get a bit more organized and potentially more potent. An abundance of moisture will be flowing in from both the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, feeding into that boundary. This could fuel an elongated area of showers and thunderstorms, and with the kind of heat that will be in place, the possibility of a more significant severe weather event on Saturday is definitely on the table. On the cold side, a major atmospheric river will be dumping snow in the west. So, if you're looking for big snow totals over the next 7 to 10 days, your best bet is to be in the Northeast or out west in the Rockies. Most of New England already has about a foot of snow on the ground, and this next system is going to add another 3 to 6 inches on top of that for many. The Central Plains and the Southeast, however, will stay too warm for any snow, with that building heat wave keeping winter at bay. It's a classic tale of two very different winters happening at the same time. It's these kinds of dynamic, rapidly changing patterns that make following the weather so fascinating. Seeing one part of the country bask in record warmth, while another gets buried in snow, is a powerful display of the atmosphere's complexity. Tracking these systems from the smallest ripple in the jet stream to a full-blown blizzard is a constant adventure. It's a privilege to follow the story our atmosphere is telling each day and to share that incredible story with a community of fellow weather enthusiasts.